Good day, everyone. We are now moving in managing and caring for the self. So we are group 8, and our topic is all about managing and caring for the self. Managing and caring for the self is an important part of living a healthy, balanced, and meaningful life. It means understanding who we are, recognizing our needs, and taking responsibility for our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. In today's busy and stressful world, self-care is not a luxury but a necessity. By learning how to manage ourselves, our time, emotions, habits, and relationships, we become more capable of achieving our goals and maintaining inner peace. Caring for oneself allows us to grow as individuals, build self-confidence, and live a happier and more fulfilling life. So, let's all read sa TPT namo, which is college life brings stress from studies, family, and personal relationships. So, do you believe in that, guys, na ang college will bring us stress, especially from our studies, families, and personal relationships? Kaya ang college man kay kanang malayo na ta sa atong pamilya, atong families, as well as ganing mo kuan na ta sa atong comfort zones. Murag mo go beyond na ta sa atong comfort zones. And also, college life brings us stress because it is the final phase of our studies, which is dapat manikamot siya ta dinhi para makahumag-eskwela ingana, and so therefore na mga academic nga doubts or kanang mahadlo ka, what if ma-fail ka ingana. So it brings us stress, and of course up in there ang family, and also financial concerns and personal relationships mong mismo sa imong kagalingon, especially if waka naadad ka malayo sa imong pamilya, kanang naadad ka nga narajud ka sa duol sa imong pamilya ingana. So managing our responsibilities requires not just lectures, homework, but also life skills. So if mag-manage ka kasi more responsibilities, wala rin na siya nag-requires nga kanang i-manage nimo mga homeworks or mga assignments ba na, pero apil na po dira atong life skills. Unsaon na to pag-manage atong time, pag-manage atong kaugalingon, unsaon na to pagpangitag mga strategies, mga techniques ba na para mas mapadali ug mas makahibaw ta kung unsaon pag-manage atong kaugalingon ug pag-ayo. So learning is not passive, it is active, social, and requires motivation. So in the Lawrence Hall of Science, UC Berkeley highlights 5 points about learning. So Berkeley highlights 5 points about learning. The first one is learning is active. Of course, learning is active because every day maka-learn man jud tag new. Every day we can gain a lot of knowledge, not just by ourselves but also from the people that surrounds us. Kanang mga nakapalibot na to, maka-learn ta na nila, even strangers, we can learn from them just by observing the way they act or unsa ilang mga gipang buhat. We can learn from them, especially from our teachers, mga professors, our peers, friends, and even our parents. We can learn from them. So learning is active because it happens every day. It happens every second, minutes, or even hours in just a day. So unang, learning is active. Second, builds on prior knowledge. So it builds on prior knowledge means using what you already know or have learned before as a foundation for learning something new. So in simple terms, builds on prior knowledge, it's like adding new information to what you already understand. Kanang nakasabot na kaana, pero dapat mag-add pa jud ka aron mas mo enhance ang imuhang nasabtan na. Like for example, if you already know basic math, learning algebra builds on that prior knowledge. Nakahibaw na ka sa mga basic math like multiplication, addition, subtraction, and division. So kung ganahan ka mo learn og algebra, it means imo nang gi-add sa katong na knowledge nga imo nang nahibawan, which is katong mga basic. So kung mag-learn kag algebra, then mo na ang kanang mo add sa imong prior knowledge. So it is like adding new information to what you already understand. It means connecting new lessons or experiences to your existing knowledge or skills. And next, number 3, it occurs in a social environment. Of course, learning occurs in social environment. It is not just in yourself only, but also in social environment. It means something happens or take place when people interact with others. We can learn if we interact with others, with everyone from the people that surrounds us. In simple words, it means learning behavior or development that happens through communication, relationships, or social activities. So if makipag-communicate sa atong professor, atong mga teachers, mga peers, friends, parents, or even strangers, so we can learn a lot, or we can learn new knowledge, we can gain new knowledge. Like, for example, learning good manners occurs in social environment because we can learn them by observing and interacting with others. Just like what I have said earlier, we can learn just by observing and interacting with others. So kung mag-observe ta sa uban, maka-learn ta. Just by seeing what they do, we can learn from that. And also, if we interact with them, mas maayo kung maki-interact na nila, mangutana or unsa ba dira. Teamwork skills develop in a social environment since they come from working with a group. Like, For example, kung mag-group study, nga na, di ba, kung mag-group study mo niya, kung ikaw ra, kay mura ganig, mas kanang nindot syud og daghan mo, kay makakanang collaborate gani mo, maka-interact kasi imong mga kauban, and so therefore, makahibaw mo or kahibaw mo strategies kung unsa imong buhaton. And also, pwede pa na siya ikaw ra, kung kanang like, kanang self-reporting, nga na, kung ikaw ra yung usa, di ngita kag strategies nga, unsa man yung angay nako buhaton para matarong ni nako, makahibaw ko, nga na, so on and so forth. So number 4, situated in an authentic context. So, situated in an authentic context means that something happens or is learned in a real life situation or setting. So, of course, learning means kanang nahitabo jud siya sa real life or practical environment. For example, a student learning to budget money by actually managing their allowance is also in an authentic context. Like, ikaw or ako as a student, gidagahan ko kanang allowance or budget sa akong parents. So, ako nga usa ka estudyante, I need to manage my money. Kanang mo palit ako sa angay nga paliton, dili kay magpatakataka gasto nga na. Like, it means experience imong gibuhat sa tinuod nga settings. Like, especially as a student, if kanang tagaan kag allowance imong parents, you must manage it well. Like, nang imo jud na siyang tarungon pag manage so that dili ka ma-short, makabayad jud ka sa unsay sakto or angay nga ibayad ato. So you need to not just your kanang time but also kung unsay ka na ganing naani mo karon, you need to manage it well. So, yeah. And number 5 is needs motivation and cognitive engagement. So, it needs motivation and cognitive management means that a person must have the drive to learn or do something, motivation, and be able to control their thoughts, focus, and decisions. So, cognitive management to succeed. In simple words, it means you need to be willing and mentally prepared to learn or perform well. For example, an athlete needs motivation to train and mental control to stay focused during a game. And ako pong kanang example na like ako, estudyante ko, ako motivation is my parents. I want to graduate. I want to study well kay na akong parents and I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want nga kung unsay lahang sakripisyo nga gihatag nako is makana ra ganing murag makwit sara nga na. So ako motivation is kana. So I will kanang study hard. I will kanang focus only on studying and focus on graduating to make my parents proud. So motivation ako akong parents, and then akong will is na ako'y ganing mentally prepared nako and kahibaw nako nga nag-study ko para ana. So, the desire to do it, na ako'y desire nga buhaton to, nga kanang magtarong jug eskwela for my parents, for my family. So, mo na siya, ang kanang ika-last. So, it means that you are willing to do and mentally prepared. You have kanang motivation, your motivation is that, and so on. And so, you will mentally prepared to do whatever happens in the future, whatever happens or whatever challenge or problems that might come in your way. So, what to say? Next. So, we're done in the 5 points about learning. So let's proceed to the next slide. So ang next slide is learning to be a better student. So nga naman, why do we need to learn to become a better student? Ngano ka? Why do we need to learn to become a better student? Learning to be a better student means developing the knowledge, habits, and attitudes needed to improve how you study and behave in school. So in simple words, it means finding ways to study smarter, manage time well, stay disciplined, and have a positive mindset towards learning. For example, ani is paying attention in class and asking questions help you understand lessons better. So if you want learning to be a better student, it's not just wa ka nag-focus sa kung unsay na-assign mo huna-huna, but kana ganing example ani is kanang estudyante ka, naminaw ka sa klase, and then naminaw ka sa prof nimo pag ayo kay ganahan ka maka-learn, pero ang professor nimo is kana ganing nag-explain siya pero wa ka kasabot. So in order for you to become a better student, in order for you to learn something or kana maka-gain kag new knowledge, na kanang dapat ka mangutana sa imong professor, imo jud tong i-sure kung unsa imong gikalibgan, di kay magpahilom-hilom ra ka kay. At the end of the day, naminaw lagi ka pero wa man gihapon kay nasabtan kay wa man ka nakahibaw or unsay gipasabot atong professor nga imong gipaminawan, di ba? So in order for you to become a better student, you need to voice out because you have the right to voice. You have the right to ask questions regarding with your kanang clarifications ingana. So what to say ang learning to become a better student. Next is focus on solving problems rather than only thinking about the future kani. Murag daghan man jud siguro maghuna-huna og kana gani usa kay mahitabo nako sa future no kana ganing mag-question ka, mag-ask ka, try to ask yourself a questions like what would happen to me in the future, unsay mahitabo nako, unsa kay kanang nakaabang or para jud nako gani ingana, like kanang kaya ba kahanin nako, what if ma-fail ko ingana kanang ganing magsige kag what if Instead nga magsige tag what if sa mga angay nga mahitabo, why not magbuhat na ta sa karon? Like, we must not think about future. Kay future man gud to and present man gud karon. We must not think about the future because whatever happens happen. And also, mag-focus ta sa karon. In order for us to grow, in order for us to learn and to gain new knowledge, we must focus on what's happening right now. We must focus in the present, not in the future. Because in order for us to move forward, we need to focus in the present. Kaya how can you move forward if sa present pa lang daan is wala na kay gibuhat, right? So mura ra pug kag naminaw sa klase, imong gipasud sa imong pikas dunggan pero imo ra pong gipalapot sa pikas dunggan. It's like that. Kay kana ganing unsa ngano mang maghuna-huna man ka sa future kung naa may karon. So why not focus in the future? Why not focus now instead in the future? Kay future to present ni. So mao na. Instead nga magsayang-sayang ka sa oras siguna na sa imong future, right? Yes, it is okay or it is right to focus in the or to think in the future, but not kana ganing to the point nga magsige na kag what if and then makawa na siya sa focus nimo and dili na ka maka-focus imong angay buhatonon karon kay magsige kag what if ma-fail ko, what if unsay may tabo na ko ka future. You must focus now kung unsay naa karon dapat mo na imong focus in order for us to move forward in the future and learn how the brain works to choose the best strategies for studying. So kani di ba naman uban na to nga kana ganin kung think quizzes na exams na is nay uban magsaligras sa stock knowledge, nay uban magtuon pag-ayo, and nay uban igura mag-skimming like kana ganing igura nila magtan-ora sila sa katong mga important details inga na. So kung pangutanon man ako, what strategies or techniques nga inyong ginagamit in order for you to learn, memorize na dumanton yung mga lessons? So mo to next slide, left brain versus right brain. So mo na pud ni left brain or right brain. Asa man mo ana, like are you a left brain or a right brain? So left-brained kay analytical or word-oriented, and then ang right brain daw is visual and creative learners. So next slide, left brain versus right brain. We often hear about people being left-brained and right-brained. So left-brained learners are logical and analytical. They like structure and order. They are good in math, science, language, and they prefer multi-choice tests. They think concretely and focus on facts. So ang mga left brain learners daw is refers to people who tend to learn and think in a logical or organized and analytical way. In simple words, ang mga left brain daw nga mga tao is they like facts, numbers, and step-by-step instructions. For example, a student who prefers following a checklist, solving equations, or writing detailed notes is likely a brain learner. So left brain learner. So kung good daw ka sa math, mga logic, kana ganing hilig ka mag-solve mga puzzles, you want to solve problem, and then ganahan mas prefer kag mga structured lessons or clear rules, is mo na ang mga left brain nga mga tao. And then ang right brain, kan ang mga right brain is are creative and imaginative. They are good in arts, music, and visual tasks. They prefer essay test, brainstorming, and learning through pictures. They think more holistically and are open to new ideas. So, ang mga right brain learners daw ay wala sila mga tao nga tend to learn and think in a creative, intuitive, and holistic way. In simple words, they prefer imagination over facts. Kaya ang mga left brain, kaya mo sila ang mga facts. Then ang kanang right brain is they prefer imagination, visual ideas, and understanding the big picture rather than just facts. So characteristics nila is good at art, music, and creative projects, think in images, patterns, and feelings, prefer open-ended tasks rather than strict rules, learn better through visual aids, stories, or hands-on activities. For example, a student who enjoys drawing diagrams, creating mind maps, or imagining concepts is likely a right-brained learner. So, for example, kanang mga student nga hilig gani mag-storytelling, magsige drawing, like good in arts, mga paints, because they prefer man good like mga arts. They kanang ato nila ibutang ang ilahang kanang emotions sa arts. Like karon na also naman ang abstract painting, like maanha mailahan sa painting ang imuhang kanang kuan like kanang sa tawag anay imuhang kinaiya, like kung dili ka masulog-on or kanang kung malipayon ka is some artists mag-use sila mga kanang mga colors nga grabe ka kanang hayag inga na, like mga yellow, pink inga na. Then kung ganing sad ka or kanang masulog-on ka, they prefer using black mga inga na. So mo na ikon sa abstract painting. Muna ang mga right brain learners, they prefer storytelling, mga nga na. And kung pauta naman ako, asa man mo ato, are you a left brain or a right brain learners? Kung wala mga to, then don't worry. Because according to science man po this, we use both our brains, the left brain and the right brain. It kanang what matters lang good is asa ang dominant ato nilang duha. So bisag ako, I don't know if left brain ba ko or right brain. Kaya yung ko sure sa to. So I think that's all for my topic. So that's all. I hope you learned from my topic and my discussion. Thank you for listening well, and God bless us all. Thank you.